Oaxaca project started a good 5 years ago, at least, through a connection that Dr. Rowe had on campus with Dr. Deborah David. From there came a first trip with students. It was the first trip. I was not part of that. I was part of the second year. The second year, unfortunately, no students could go to Oaxaca on the trip because of the political conflict that was going on in the capital. During that trip, only Dr. Rowe and myself attended, and that's when the connection really started with Saul Aragon, the president of the Ecoalebrije Association in Oaxaca. There was a vision of what this could turn out into, which is ironic because we talked about it this last year when we went after 5 years about how this one idea from two different people came to be such a great event. But something huge really happened from that conversation of two people just getting together and talking about the possibilities. Ever since then, there's been 4 trips with students, ranging from 15 to this last year we took 25 students in total. And it started off as getting to know the families, doing a little bit of sightseeing, and it eventually evolved to this last year to really a cultural exchange. What we mean by cultural exchange is we learn as much from them, or if not more from them, than they also learn from us. So, and that can happen in so many ways, and one of the ways that that it happens is by us supporting them in whatever needs they have in terms of sustainability and
affects the creation of the copal trees because the wood from the copal trees is what is actually used to make the alebrijes, and that is because the wood from the copal tree is a lot softer than the other local woods there, so it makes it easier to carve and work with.
Folks in Arasola have been facing are a lack of water. There's been a drought that's been ongoing. Also lack of just economic opportunities in the region. So that's why they've been moving to a large portion of the community to move to creating like these pieces of art, the alebrijes. So it's important for them to sustain their community. It's a method of prevention from keeping the young men in the community to immigrate to the U.S. Because it's definitely something that I know tears families apart. And while we were there in Arasola, we saw that firsthand. Wives who hadn't seen their husband in 10 years, kids who hadn't seen their fathers in 10 years. So in order just to make sure that the community stays cohesive, that it doesn't break apart, because there are a lot of other areas in Mexico where entire pueblos have just left. They're just gone, they're just empty, or it's nothing but elderly men, women, and like really young kids. So in order to maintain that community, alebrijes definitely keep the people there. A lot of the folks there do it full time. It's also really important because it's kind of it's a cultural expression. Like the folks there really enjoy creating the alebrijes, and going there and seeing it is definitely, well, for me it was a great pleasure. Like I really enjoyed being there and watching my family, my host dad, create the alebrijes. And one thing though is that the families who do this full time, like it's like my host dad would say that it's like a small corporation, because the whole family gets involved. So everyone is kind of contributing to the sustainment of the family. So the dad and his son usually did the major woodwork. So they'd kind of form the pieces, and then it was up to the youngest kids to actually paint and primer the artwork, and then the oldest daughter and the mom would actually do the fine details on the alebrijes. So it was really nice to see that. Again, just talking about cohesiveness, the way the families are able to kind of bond together over this. And so, the days with they're working, everyone's just kind of working on their own piece, and everyone's kind of doing it together. It's really nice to see. But also, I think in the end, it's a cultural thing, just like anything else that any community has, any other culture has. Like it's a way for them to express who they are. That every family kind of has its own distinctive flavor as far as the alebrijes. And you may not be able to see it at first, but after spending time there, you definitely see that every family favors certain types of animals that they create, or different styles, different colors, and that all comes out. But in the end, you know, it's kind of it's something that they create to promote, to sell in order to survive.
Helping the people of Arizola replant their copal trees was a really good experience. It was really good to know that what we were doing would help them not only while we were there, but also help them in the future after we left Arizola. We were helping them not only create a sustainable copal tree population, but also helping sustain their financial stability, because the alebrijes that come out of the copal trees are one of their main sources of income.
When I was in Arizola living with my family, I went out with my host dad out to his little campo. He has a piece of land, and so we started talking about the copal tree that he's growing there. He's growing several copal trees, and we started talking about the reforestation that's happening, the attempts, and really the lack of copal that's available to them in order to keep, you know, creating the alebrijes. And he listed a couple of things to me, a couple key points. One was that actually there's been kind of an introduction of a foreign or a different strain of copal, which does not grow as well in Arizola and the neighboring region. So that's one issue. And so their attempts to reforest have they're just realizing this now, have kind of been not that successful, again, because it's this unnative, this foreign copal strain doesn't grow as well there. So another issue with reforestation, though, is that they're actually having difficulties with the Mexican government, because they want to reforest in this natural growing area near Arizola, which is called Monte Alban. It's this mountain nearby, and so the copal used to grow ridiculously well on the side of Monte Alban. So now, after years and years of folks harvesting these trees, they're very scarce. So again, their attempts to reforest have kind of been blocked by the Mexican government, because Monte Alban is now like a historical site or something like that. But the weird thing is, though, that the plant is native to that region. So they're talking about, like, why would the Mexican government be kind of blocking their efforts to become very sustainable economically, like self-sufficient. So that's another issue that they're facing. Reforestation is important because they need it in order to survive.
Helping with the reforestation projects in Arizola made me think about how much we actually use here in America. When somebody goes to the bookstore and buys a pack of binder paper, we don't go out and plant another tree to replace the tree that we've taken away from the environment. So in comparison to Arizola, we don't sustain our environment as well as they do, and I think that's really unfortunate.